All right, so this is our first podcast for Directions Behavioral Health Centers. We wanted to do a podcast called Conversations with Addicts. I've been getting my balls broken for quite a while to do it. It's not something that I was like rushing to do, but I wanted to do it, and then I brought in my man Freddie Batone.
I guess it's not anonymous.
No, nicest cocaine hairdo in the city. I mean, listen, if you walk into a fucking joint and you see Freddie, that's the guy with the 20s of powder coke. All right, So I figured the best time to start is when my good man Chris was up here. I seen Chris at his worst. I seen him at his best, which I would say is now, man. He's really living a recovered lifestyle up until this point. He's been a maniac, and I know that for sure. But the great part about Chris is not just what he's done and where he's been, but the fact that this is a kid who had a real shot at a professional basketball career, right? I mean, scouts from all over looking at him, broke all kinds of Catholic League records, right? Catholic League, or did you play some other
college, all that shit?
College, right? Yes. I mean, he fucking killed it, but he was a drug addict. He was a junkie, and like all addicts, he put all that in a pipe and smoked it, literally. Right?
Yeah, smoke it, snort it, whatever you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll snort you, I get you line.
No shit. So I think that for our first podcast, what's been going on in Philadelphia is something we should talk about, right? The
injection site.
The injection site, exactly. Everybody's been going crazy, people protesting this and that, you know what I mean? And people were driving me nuts, sending me messages, what's my opinion, this and that, everybody wanted my fucking opinion on it, and I don't know, I posted one thing and got attacked, the only thing I posted was that, they've done this around the world in other places and had a lot of success with it,
Yeah. I mean, listen, if
I
you're...
don't know whatever success is.
Yeah, if you're in this industry and you're not looking to help with harm reduction, then you should be out of it. But they're rolling it out the complete wrong way.
Right.
100%. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just can't come up with an idea and say this is going to work. It's a part-time place. I mean, we were talking about it earlier. Who's going to wait, to go from 10 to 2 to do their stuff? I mean, you hit on it.
I sold drugs and did drugs. I never...
You sold, take it easy now with the sold drug shit.
Well,
you don't get immunity being on this fucking show.
No immunity?
No,
I lived a wild life.
7 years ago, so you...
Yeah. Well,
it was,
maybe
it's not 7 weeks ago, actually.
It's not taxes. You're not going to wait for an audit,
Only a couple times yesterday. But the thing is, right? I don't care who you are. I've never seen anybody wait to do it. As soon as you get somebody, they do it immediately. So this site, I think people are going to do what they do in between two parked cars, walk to the site, save a little bit, they get in, they get warm, they probably get a cup of coffee, a donut, it's raining. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
And they got to listen to somebody talk to them.
They got to listen to somebody talk about bed bug shit in a diaper. They don't know what they're saying. They're whack. They don't want to listen.
Yeah. I mean...
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, and I mean, that's it. My point was exactly, my point exactly was, no addict is going to go to 7th Street, Kensington, cop, right, and then hold it till they get to the injection site to use it, unless they don't got a rig. That would be the only reason is they don't have a rig. Other than that, they're not doing it, right? And a guy says to me on Facebook, he says, "How do you know what addicts are going to do?"
Yeah.
How do I know?
Yeah,
I think we have an idea.
Yeah, I have a good idea.
But then you take people, say hypothetically, someone likes to really enjoy snorting their drugs. Mm-hmm. So I go up, and I go in. What are they going to do? Tell me to step my game up? No, you can't snort in here.
Right, you make a good point.
Go stick a needle in your neck, then you can come back. We're only going to accept you. And then there's people out there see, it works in other countries because they're dealing with a heroin epidemic. We're dealing with a drug epidemic. It's very rare that people don't like to smoke crack with their heroin here, don't like to do meth with it, don't like to do coke with it. So what's the you got to smoke your rock on the outside, and then you can come in and do the dope. None of it makes sense on the rollout portion of it. You got to shoot your coke up outside. What are they going to do? Test it? They're like, oh, bring it in. We're going to test it for fentanyl. I hate to break it to everybody. They want the fentanyl. Yeah. When people die down in Kensington, they're like, where'd they get that bag? So they think it's harm reduction. It's not with that. It's not with the drug.
90% of the people that do heroin smoke crack. It's a combination.
Yeah.
It's like a Tyson. For sure. It's like a Tyson hook uppercut. Killer combo.
Right.
Yeah, so the whole rollout between, the hours where they were putting it, and they snuck it in. I mean, we all know they snuck it in. No one even knew it was even being proposed for South Philly. They put it next to, in the same building with 2 daycares, Malvern Clinic, who probably wasn't even in the know with it. If we're 3 blocks away and they don't return our emails to see what they're going to do, helping out with treatment and everything, nobody's in the know. No, nobody knows. They just think we're going to open the doors and it's going to clean this up. It's not. It's not even going to make a dent in it.
So the thing about that is, I looked at when they did the press conference, Ed Rendell, this one, that one, right? Not one recovered drug addict in that group, right? And look, I'm a huge believer in the treatment model. I'm a huge believer in the fact that we need to get help. We need therapeutic help. Listen, 99.9% of us, without a doubt, are trauma, have PTSD. We have a lot of trauma. That's where the addiction comes from. It starts there, man, So I'm a believer that those people have some place in helping us recover or get over that bridge, right?
Right.
But what I do know is they do not understand the way the brain of the addict works. Yeah. Like if I'm not living it and I'm not working on it and I'm not maintaining my sobriety, that idea comes across my mind, opportunity arises, I'll leave footprints on my fucking kid's back with their piggyback in my hand to get out the door.
The problem,
you try to tell that to a regular person, they don't get that.
No, and the people that are doing it, whatever this thing is, they don't have a fucking clue. They don't have a clue. They're running an injection. Even if this works, that's not helping people recover. No. And they're putting it at a daycare. It's like what's that show, The Walking Dead? Just walking around little kids. Yeah. Why do they have to see it? Because other people, they don't want them to get high. They already have an injection site. It's between Fish Street to Broad Street, and Wolf to fucking Moore.
Mm-hmm. And on a legality standpoint, what are the laws? What if you pick up a kid that has 2 bundles in Northeast Philly, and he has possession on him? He's like, no, I'm going to do this right. I'm getting a ride down to South Philadelphia to shoot my drugs. So you're basically having to legalize everything in order to do this. And what are you going to do? So if someone drives himself down there, are you going to give them a time period before they can get back in the car? So now people are getting, so we might as well just have a lane on the highway with bumpers for people that are intoxicated driving home from the entire,
for people that rush to do their heroin and leave from it. And what else too? What are you going to arrest dealers that are over here? You don't think dealers are going to be over here?
They're going to hang outside.
But why? They're not wrong. They're doing what you want them to do.
Well, so that's the thing. In the other countries where this was done, right, and where they've had success with it, like for instance, Portugal, I think it was 2002 that they legalized, I think 2002, that they legalized all drugs, right? So you go there and you get it by prescription, right? And then you bring it in. You can transport it. The cops can literally stand outside of this injection site and just arrest everyone walking in. There's automatically probable cause and knowledge that they're carrying drugs. If I'm walking in that building, I'm carrying drugs.
It's almost entrapment.
It's bullshit. It is entrapment. Yeah. It's a nightmare. The whole situation, I think the whole injection site thing is fucking nuts. I don't think it works. I think it's stupid. People want help. There's a way to get help. It's the way that works. You know what I mean? You gotta find the higher power. You gotta go when you're ready. You gotta go somewhere, separate yourself from the drug, and you gotta change your life. Yeah. You're not gonna get clean and live like it's hard to do. It's hard. Well, I tried to be clean and be better at living a street life. It never worked.
And I agree with that as well. But just to play devil's advocate on the other side, we have a huge HIV issue here. Hep C, whatever. The diseases in Philadelphia, are stemming from a lot of drug use, and I get that. And I remember when Kensington changed. Like when I was a kid, it literally changed within like a year. We go down there to play soccer, and then the following year we go down there to play soccer, and both teams are walking the field looking for needles so we don't get stuck. Mm-hmm. So everybody, on the harm reduction side, until a parent, you go to Needle Park, until your kid is walking in the summertime and steps on a HIV-infected needle, now you're going to be for the safe injections. Like it's just the rollout is just awful. They're not rolling it out, and then you compare it to other countries like. You compare it, say even France, or I don't even know if France has it, but if you compare it, France is the size of Pennsylvania. Their drug, this is a countrywide thing that they're trying to start in Philadelphia and roll it out. Our problem is much bigger. It's a much larger scale.
For sure.
And I think, this is just my opinion, I think we're rocking out in this country in a different way than the world. I mean, the opioids, the amount of opioids, I think we put out 90% of the opiates, in the world. That's
we consume 90%.
Can I say this? I didn't shoot heroin, but there is no safe way to shoot heroin.
No.
If you shoot heroin, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, there's no safe way to snort it.
No, there's no safe way. There's no safe site. There's no safe place. That lifestyle is dangerous, and that's what goes along with it. Yeah. There's other ways to deal with it, and that's it. People need help.
Exactly.
I agree.
I mean, and they're looking at, you take a look at Kensington or Camden or some of the bad places, and that's what they're painting the so-called junkie. There's just as many coming from a functioning addict. There's so many more people out there that you're not even touching on we can't even get them to come into treatment.
When you say functioning, would you consider the day you drove your truck into a 18-wheeler on Oregon Avenue functioning? Functioning that day? I'm just want to make sure. Yeah, I just want to make sure that's considered.
On my way to work, never miss one, anything. So I would never go to that site because, you know, I'm in a suit and I don't want people to see me. So now you're only really focusing on, you know, the quote-unquote junkie that you see, but there's a whole demographic there that's not even being touched that is never going to walk into there. So what's your end goal? I don't know what the hell their end goal is.
And what is a functioning addict? Because I don't think that's like, I thought I was. I was a functioning college basketball star, on everything, living like a maniac. But because I could score 20 or 30, was I functioning? People that went to my college would tell you I was totally out of control.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So is there a functioning addict? I don't know. A lot of people just walk around and present themselves nice. I did that for a while. I could fool you, but I ain't fooling God.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not living right. And you're not being the best you could be. And that's really what life's about. Motivating each other and being the best you could be each day. I don't care if you're a doctor, a mechanic. Just be better and help people.
Well, that's what what it comes down to, right? So whether or not you believe that these sites are enabling addicts to use, or you know, that they're a danger to the daycares that are in the building, or you know, or they're going to lower the HIV rate, all this stuff. It can't work with just that one thing. Like, here's a building, you can shoot dope in here. It can't work like that. There's so many variables that were unlooked at, right? And you take, like, you know, like suddenly Ed Rendell's standing in the background. Right? If you watched
where did he come from? I thought.
Well, if you
just
so Teresa.
Ed Rendell's in a fucking diaper.
Well, Teresa, Teresa looked it up, and he's on the board.
He's on the board
of his company.
And that's another thing that's
what's called a safe site or some shit.
Safe haven.
Save my balls.
Yeah.
It's some shot. Yeah. Safe shot.
But they, you know, they go on a press conference and they're like, we're open to inquiries. We will get back to everybody. We're a treatment center 3 blocks away.
Never reached out to us.
Ever. And we've reached out to them and they have not responded.
Because the goal's not to help the people.
No.
I don't know the business of it, but I'm sure they're making money from it somehow.
Yeah. Somebody. I mean, to me, you know, I mean, this is just an opinion, but Kensington real estate, when that neighborhood is good, it's some of the best real estate in the city. You know, they have the L, those storefronts can be beautiful. I mean, I wouldn't put it past anybody that they're trying to push the problem away from there to build that area up.
Well, they are.
Yeah. I mean,
if you look, listen, I've been to Kensington in the middle of the night, both sober and using.
Me too.
Right?
Never sober, but I've ventured there a few times a night.
So, but there's blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks with no lights. The street lights have been shot out, right? And then you go to like under the L, and it's like Night of the Living Dead, right? I mean, I often go there on Friday night to the CA meeting at the last stop. So you're driving back, and you're driving down Kensington Avenue heading towards South Philly, like toward Delaware Avenue, right. And suddenly it goes from being like blacked out sirens and zombies everywhere to like hipsters and yuppies pushing up a baby strollers up the street, like
walking dogs,
and all, and like beautiful condos being built, and all these hip restaurants and stores, right?
Crazy coffee shops.
Right, there's all this stuff, and a few blocks away, man, people are just dying. There's that Instagram, Kensington Beach. Right? And everybody yells, oh, this, you know, curses this guy out. And the guy says, listen, it's awareness.
It's awareness, and
what's happening?
Well, anytime there's an epidemic in the country or in any other country, you know, governments, they lean on experts that have done the research and everything.
Right.
In this situation, the experts are the former addicts. We're the experts, but no one wants to look at us as the experts, and no one is is really sitting down and consulting with the experts, because we don't have PhDs in but I'm telling you,
Well, you do have a
they
PhD.
don't know shit. Yeah,
I have a PhD in this lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Ed Randell does it.
I'm like the junkie genie.
Yeah.
I can literally put a date on when you're going to leave the program and get high.
I
That's how
played
you're acting.
every position in that life. Every one.
Right.
From a pawn to whatever to a maniac. However you want to say it. And the Kensington Beach thing, that guy's smart, because why do people watch it? Because it starts out as a joke. They laugh at it. And then they say, wow, this is a sin. These people need help. The point's behind it.
Yeah.
Listen, you can bring all the people you want. So their argument was the safe injection site is going to bring addicts to a place where we can get them resources, right? You can bring all the people, all the addicts you want to that site, right? The real problem lies if they're uninsured,
Yep.
or even if they have Medicaid assistance, right? BHSI and CBH, which are the companies that fund treatment in Philadelphia, make it impossible to get treatment.
Exactly.
They make it impossible.
Especially because
And-
most people been to treatment a bunch of times. They don't want to keep doing it. But that's the people that need treatment.
Right.
I've been to treatment a bunch of times. It didn't work. Now this time it did. I've been kicked out of 19 rehabs. I went to 20.
Right. Well, of course.
So the 20th one worked.
Yeah.
So if they would have gave up, I would just be getting ready to go to the snort site.
Listen,
The
I
snort
have
site.
that argument. I have that argument with therapists and clinicians all the time. They're like, "Oh, well, we can't take this person back because last time they were here, they did this and they did that, and they did this." And I'm like, "Listen, if you knew the things I did,
Yeah.
right? If people said to me, you can't come back to treatment because of the things you did to get high, I would have been fucked."
I fought and got high at every treatment center.
Yeah.
I fought at most of them, got high at a few of them, always asked to leave and never come back.
Well, it's funny because you see politicians, like Rendell, that are standing up there, and he's one and the same, throughout the city. All these politicians, they say they want to help the opioid epidemic. We've reached out to politicians and said we have 2 scholarships for your community.
Right.
We've never gotten a call. Scholarships, saying if someone comes to you, one of your constituents comes to you, and their son, daughter, whatever, we're going to place 2 scholarships. No one calls.
Listen, I don't want to say the guy's name.
Nah, yeah.
I went to.
No
I
names.
went.
No names.
No names. Cousine. When I tell
No
you, no
names,
fucking
man.
names.
Except for
Don't ever mention no names in here.
Ever
you
know we
motherfucker.
can mention.
Yeah, he's a jerk. No, don't ever say names.
No names. Anyway, I don't want to say this guy's name, but I go to. I knew nothing about it. Wasn't invited. I own a treatment center in this community, a community where I grew up, where I terrorized this community for years and years. I employ nothing but addicts who've recovered from the disease, right? I mean, I employ therapists and stuff, but I'm saying I try to employ in everything other than therapist position.
You employ cuisine.
I employ Eugene. I try to employ alumni from my programs. I try to people from the community who terrorize the community, who now got their life together, they recovered from the disease, right? And these people, for example, throw an awareness thing, right? I know nothing about it. I happen to be driving with my wife, right? And I see this sign that they're having this thing at the Mummers Museum. I walk in, of course I know some people there. There's tables set up for treatment centers. There's a table for what do they call that place where you buy the weed? The
Maintenance place?
no,
I
the
mean,
fucking
Dispensaries.
dispensaries. There's tables for them. There's tables for pen, medicine, this and that, right? All these fancy things. Now, I walk in, so I sit down. The guy who's speaking knows me, starts talking. While he's up there speaking, he starts talking about how I was an addict in the community, and now I own this treatment center here and all this stuff, right? So a woman comes up to me after he's done speaking, and she's hysterical, crying. Her sister, this, that, the other, whatever. Sister has no insurance. She cannot get in treatment. She keeps taking her to 509 Spring Garden. I won't name the name of the business. She keeps taking her to 1309 Spring Garden, another business. I think it's 1309. I'm not even sure, right? And she can't get her in treatment, right? She asks me if I'll help. I said yes. We had her in treatment the next morning, right? I let them know that in my new facility I offer 2 scholarship beds at all times. Philly's probably more than that. It's probably more like 5. And honestly, in all honesty, Florida facilities got more than 2, but I offer 2 at any given time is what I let them know. I then had Rob contact their office that he wanted to come and meet them, right? And, you know, tell them how we would offer it and anything we could do to help the constituents, this, that, and everything. Nothing. Nobody ever called him back. Right. Big fucking hoopla at the Mummers Museum. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. This girl's crying that her sister can't get up. Thank God I happened to walk in the door. Yeah. Thank God. You know what we believe? We believe it's 11 steps, right? My conscious contact with God said, let me stop and go in there and see what this is about. You know, God directed me. I don't drive on Washington Avenue, whatever. I go in there. Thank God she gets help, right? I try to reach out to this guy's office because I'm in his community where he's supposed to be serving the constituents. He's throwing a big, I want to help fucking drug addicts night, right? And he had 0 to say to me after that. Not even so much, right, as to say, let me stop there and see what your place looks like and how you can help my constituents. But they're on fucking TV about a safe injection site.
It blows my mind.
Blows my mind.
It blows my mind. They're out of touch.
The world's off. Instagram and Percocets ruined the world. Fake became cool. Instagram and Percocets ruined the world. Fake became cool. Reels coming back slowly, and there's a lot of problems. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. Instagram and Percocets.
Ruin the world. This generation.
What milligram Percocet? I'm curious.
30 up.
30's not a Percocet. That's oxycodone.
30.
Well, don't get it twisted.
On the street.
I don't want to be on this podcast and have a guy on there that doesn't know
the
that
whole
30
Philly,
is not a Percocet.
It is though. The whole Philly's on Perc 30s.
Yeah.
You go on the street and say, "Let me get out." What'd you call it?
An
oxycodone 30.
An oxycodone 30. What? Let me get a Perc 30.
Right.
Let me get a joint.
So it's a joint.
Let me get a joint.
It's definitely a joint.
And I've done enough joints in my life to know they're Perc 30s.
But for whatever
for the record.
But for the record, oxycodone.
Yeah, like the pharmaceutical record. Yeah, in the street, it's Perc 30.
Yeah, the only difference is Percocets have Tylenol in them.
So listen, that brings me to fuck this safe injection conversation. It's a stupid idea. It got stopped. You and I both know. They learned their lesson. Keep your mouth shut. Sneak this joint in. So
but real quick, before we jump off of that,
yeah,
the biggest thing that is overlooked is, you know, sometimes the privately owned treatment centers in the area get a bad name. But unbeknownst to the community, in which the politicians should be on TV stating that, you know, this is a good thing, is we all work together. Whether it's competition or not, we're on the phone constantly with each other. So if the politicians really want to get involved, it's rare that we can't find someone treatment because everybody kind of works, you know, very well together, and it's just there's no communication.
For sure,
nobody's being updated on what the hell they're doing.
Listen, I've been trying to get CBH funding here. Yeah. I've been trying to become a provider for CBH since the day we opened. Right? It's a request for proposal process.
Yeah, it's RFP.
And up until 3 months ago, they hadn't offered an RFP since 2008. Over 12 years. And when I would call them, bro, 1 second, when I would call them, you know what they would say? We have enough providers. Enough providers?
They have like 3.
Huh?
They have like 3 that we can send.
Yeah. The Wedge, the Net,
yeah,
and Alice's. Like, there's a few others, but like just really in this area, right?
The woman that gave it to the politicians, should have a Rocky statue and Brody McKean of her, I guess.
Right, she
won this.
She tore it off.
She's the reason it all switched.
The best part, you know, Ed Rendell just put his head. He couldn't even look her.
Because she was real.
Yeah, and you know it's messed up because Kenny didn't even show up to the conference.
When people are,
he doesn't want nothing.
When someone's real, you can't deny when someone's real. Yeah. It's a real thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
It says more about you if you're not feeling someone's real. I don't care if you like them or not.
Right.
Well, you know what? Everybody's really in touch with what's going on. You know, it sucks that we have to deal with the drug epidemic. It sucks that it's so bad in our city. But realistically, you know, the common everybody's touched by it. And you know what? There's unions out there that even had AA meetings, NA meetings in their union halls. No one's ignoring it. But this is not the answer. This is not. Nobody's going to agree with this, especially the way they're rolling it out.
I mean, you know, like I said, I wanted to like kind of skip to another subject, and you know, they stopped it there. We all know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
What the purpose of it is, beyond me. And I'm not against harm reduction by any means.
No.
I believe in, unlike a lot of people in the fellowships of 12-step fellowships that we know of, I'm a believer in, you know, the harm reduction model to the extent that it's being used to help someone get the help they need and being reduced, like in maintenance cases, stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm not against it, and there was a time where I was against it.
Yeah.
You know, there was a time where I wouldn't have spoke about it. I would have been like, no, I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah.
But then you see enough kids die,
Yeah.
and you start to change your attitude. So I sort of started changing how I looked at it,
Right.
and started putting energy into, okay, so maybe someone's using a medication to get to a place. They're reducing it, right? They're showing up at meetings. They got a sponsor. They're changing their way of living.
Yep.
You know, they're straightening out their life issues. They're seeing a dentist. You know what I mean? They're taking care of that cut that hasn't healed, and they're going to a doctor, and they're maybe showing up at court. They're handling their child issues, whatever. And they're seeing a sponsor, they're making meetings, and they're getting, you know, they're starting to have a spiritual experience. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
I'm not for, you know, the handing out of medication.
Right.
You know, and just saying good luck. I hope for the best, because you know I always say this when I talk to staff, and I always say that, you know, we need to case manage our lives back in order if we want to get sober. You know what I mean? Like, I can remember going into rehab, like 64 months ago. And this time I had really ran myself into the ground. And I can remember, like, I had like a backpack and a pair of my kids' old sneakers to my name, and nobody wanted to talk to me.
Well, you had a lifestyle problem before drugs. It ain't like you don't just.
But so do you.
Yeah. People don't realize it's a lot to do with that.
Sure.
And, you know.
But sis, we recover from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body.
Yeah.
Like, my lifestyle is 100%.
You weren't always just a junkie. You were someone that knew how to make money and maneuver on the street, and it led, you know what I mean, partying led to that. You know what I mean?
I mean, I was in my first rehab at 13.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's safe to say that I've been an addict a pretty long time.
yeah.
But I've had moments of sobriety or abstinence where I was able to get my life together for a period of time, and because of, like, let's say, making money, I was able to get by on that, and eventually that the luster of that wore away, and I become, as the book says, restless, irritable, and discontent, to the point where nothing fixes me. No money, no cars, no jewelry, no nothing, but getting high.
Yeah.
Right? So it takes me to a point where I'm either going to blow my fucking brains out or I'm going to do a batty dope.
All that stuff don't fix you anyway, because I tried to get clean in Florida before, and it was when the Heat won back-to-back championships, and the only people that lived better than me in Florida for them couple years were LeBron James and Dwayne Wade.
Right.
That's it. I mean, I had the cartilage.
But there's one thing I know for sure is LeBron definitely don't have as good a hairline.
No, I got the best. I should get, after this podcast, I should get a shampoo contract.
You should. Yeah.
Just for men, I guess. Cougine for men.
I don't know.
I'll do a tutorial.
I don't know. Look at the Powder Coke Connect.
No.
That's Alfred Freddie the Powder Coke Connect. But
What's Meek Mill say? There's levels to this shit. Yeah, there's levels.
Yeah. Well, he don't wear a slip back no more. He's
Just
just
serious.
When it gets longer, I wear it like that.
yeah.
Don't ever disrespect me on the air again.
Let me ask you a question. That's sort of a throw.
That's like a surfer, like a beady type chain on his neck type of thing. See what I'm saying?
100% that.
Not
See what I'm saying?
shells.
Yeah. Shell.
I bought him a shell necklace last week, a choker
Shells,
piece.
yeah.
Not a hanger.
I don't know what a shell. To me, shell's a gas station.
No,
I
you
don't know
know
what
what a shell necklace is?
Yeah,
That's what we wear.
shell necklaces.
Yeah.
I won't wear a shell necklace with your neck.
No, so I mean, the other thing that
Lifestyle. Can I tell my cartoon?
Oh,
I'm not
wow.
it's my cartoon. It's a great cartoon.
Let him tell the cartoon.
We're gonna let Chris tell his cartoon.
All right, so this cartoon's about lifestyle, okay?
Wait, real quick, let me ask you a question.
It's animated in my head, but go.
It's animated in your head, but is this cartoon like an after-school type thing?
It's for like kids. I'm probably thinking like
Skinemax.
5th grade to like 10th. But anybody will get it. There's a point behind it.
All right,
Are you
yeah,
ready?
tell the cartoon.
All right, here's the cartoon. It's a football game, right? The devil pulls up in that thing. That thing's like a machine. They're playing Lucifer, son in the morning. He's got flashy uniforms. His equipment sucks. He gives you shitty pads and all. He runs a lot of trick plays, flea flickers, handoffs, all that nut stuff. God, gold, white, standard uniforms. They walk out with their chest up. They're singing, "Oh, happy day when Jesus washed."
Right.
They're singing that. Sold out. The devil's cheerleaders are smoking. The devil's got a bunch of gold chains on.
Wait, can I ask a question?
Big
Hold on,
face,
time
bust
out.
down.
Can I ask a question? Why would the devil have shitty uniforms?
They're flashy. They're sick looking. The equipment's shitty. You're not listening. Talk
Oh, okay,
fast.
all right, you're right. Maybe I misunderstood.
I'm not talking fast. You're just listening slow. Catch up. You know what I mean? So where are we at? The devil's
I don't know,
uniforms.
you're sure
The
slow.
devil's uniforms are fire. His equipment is a nightmare. God's got great equipment. The devil signs you to big short-term contracts. 3 years, 30 million signing bonus. Boom. God don't do that, but God gives you a long-term deal. You know what I mean? You might retire with a golf course. You're healthy. You still got the pads, the good pads. God runs the ball up the middle every play. You know what's coming. You can't stop it. The devil runs flea flickers out. Once in a while, there'll be like a cornerback on God's team, peeking at a cheerleader, jump shit, go to the devil's side. We got to get him back. You understand the metaphor?
Yes.
It's a good metaphor for kids. Now imagine it's animated. Devil's got like red or whatever. He's got gold on. He's in the car. God standing there real serious. Run the ball. It's a good question.
So in other words, God.
God is
let me-
longevity.
Well, it's longevity, but it's not as exciting, but yet more rewarding.
More
Is that what you're
rewarding,
saying?
not as exciting, and you got to do the next right thing. You know we're running the ball right up the middle, but you can't stop us. We're stronger. We got the good pads.
Who would God use to run the ball? Bettis or Sanders?
We're running straight at you. You know what I mean? I think
So
we're like
Bettis.
Marshawn Lynch in it. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Beast mode.
Marshawn.
You know what I mean? Right up the middle. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cougine. So Cougine cartoon, and I think it'll be good.
Why is everything called Cougine?
Because I'm Cougine. What do you mean?
It's a Cougine
Yeah,
cartoon.
you know what I mean? This is a Cougine cast.
Right.
You keep it up, I'll give you a Cougine slap.
The old slapperooski.
The old Pollyanna.
Listen, so you bring up an interesting point with that story, right?
You get the point, right?
Yeah.
Should I break down the point? I think I understand.
No, I think most people are intelligent enough to get the point. If they're not, they can call in, and next week.
If they're not, next week I got a new cartoon.
We
We'll
just
dumb it down for them.
You can have a cartoon that explains that cartoon.
Yeah, cartoon about explaining the cartoon.
Exactly.
It'll be me
So-
with a
I'm gonna
slick
die laughing if he makes millions off this car.
I'm going to make millions off the
Well,
cartoon.
somebody sees this and they buy
Yeah,
that.
I know what
jerk
happened,
off
man.
cartoon.
Next week I might
100% I get
Next
caught.
week I might dribble 3 balls while I tap dance and butcher Sinatra songs in it.
There's no
Butcher.
doubt. No. By the way, I will. Anybody out there who wants to play against my guy, I'll back you up. You
Yeah,
know that.
shooting. I mean, my moving around days, I got most people.
Right, but you can bang out 17, 18 half-court swishes. Like
Nobody wants
I've
no
never
smoke
seen
shooting
anything
about.
like it.
Yeah, no.
It's amazing.
I've
It really
never
is.
seen
It's
anything
amazing.
like it.
That's the crazy part. Shooting the ball like that, dribbling the way you dribble, to play the ball the way you played. You went to Europe, right?
I went there on the USA team and then I fucked it up. I got offered contracts. I was a junior. So funny story, I went to Europe, right? And I was getting whacked on the plane. We weren't supposed to play the first day. And I get there and we're supposed to play. Now, I don't even do Xannies. I'm doing Xannies. I'm drinking. The first game, I have 48 and 10 assists. I missed 2 foul shots my whole senior year. I missed 4 in that game. And I hit a buzzer beater where I stepped out of bounds at the buzzer from like half court. So I really would have like 55.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I was killing it.
And he chose to smoke crack.
He went to Europe.
No,
I
so-
moved to the Bahamas and did coke.
I smoked crack for a long time. And that's what the thing, and the thing about that is, these perk 30s people think are cool, right?
Well, the crack
So
was,
I was just
the
ahead of
crack
the
was a
curve.
metaphor
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, see the perk
in that
30s?
situation.
I was making money doing perk 30s in 2003, 4. People, that's like cool now. The rappers say it. Everybody that makes money does 30s. But the thing is, 30s are heroin. You know what I mean?
Better.
I had a
Cleaner.
crazy habit. I was doing, can I say what I was doing? I was doing 30s a day for a while. That's it. I was doing
some kind of rule.
I was doing $1,000 worth of drugs a day before I would order an express. You know what I mean? Don't count food if I want to go out, if I want to go to a club. 1,000 a day.
Yeah.
Totally nuts.
Officially, they're not a sponsor, but he was.
Oxycodone is officially not a
No,
sponsor.
Oregon Express.
Neither is Oregon
But
Express.
they got a beautiful fucking bacon, egg, and cheese.
They do got a great bacon, egg, and cheese.
Yeah, they do. The bacon's unreal.
So, my point was, right, with all that talent, and you are talented, I mean, you know, we all know that because you make 75 Instagram posts a day.
Heavy Instagram.
Showing us, you are a heavy Instagram ball.
Stories,
Right?
all story work.
All story work, right. So with all that talent, and let's say maybe you couldn't have made it to the NBA, right? But
Probably not. I was a little under that. No, I'm not an NBA player, no.
Okay, but you could have played in Europe and made some money.
Yeah, I could have made good money.
Right? You could have had a good career playing in Europe.
Especially if I would put my heart in it. I was smoking
Yeah.
a ton of weed. I was a mess.
Right. So,
I was turned on by the other lifestyle.
right. So I guess what I'm getting to with that is that with all that talent, all that ability, all that opportunity, you couldn't stop the desire and the need to use drugs.
Yeah, well, I lived in double life.
Because let me ask you this question. If you look back, like obviously, listen, you had to play ball from a young age. Your pops had to take you to games.
Well, my brother was great too.
Your brother was a great player too, right? So you guys had this talent, right? So you knew right from wrong, right? But the minute you got high, like everybody else, you felt like something happened. Like I know for me, like I often use this analogy. Like the first time I got high, I just went, and I fit in my skin, right?
So you see how a lot of people say they got high because they weren't comfortable talking to girls or dancing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not me.
Right.
I first got high
Well,
partying. I'm like too confident, and you know how nuts I am. I'll talk to anybody. I'll dance right now. I'll do anything like that sober. When I got high, yeah, I thought I was cool for whatever. I lived the jerk off life. But then eventually, I was almost embarrassed because everybody knew me. Yeah. Everybody always knew me everywhere I went, and I would be like, almost go with more of a show and be calm and just real quick, not look you in the eye. And that's not me if you know me regular. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and well, that's the thing. I mean, like.
But yeah, the desire was crazy.
So the desire.
The first perk I took.
The desire took over, but the first time you used.
The first time I took a perk. So I always smoked weed and drank 40s and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The first perk I took, I knew. I said, you're not supposed to feel this good.
Yep.
I was at a party, college party. I threw a college party for the first perk I took. And then I said, you're not supposed to feel this good. I love it. I want to do this every day. And then I used to joke. People that were in college on my team, they would laugh and say like how crazy I was. And I would say, what's the difference if it's Friday, Thursday the college night? I'm partying every day. I score 30 when the 30s are on. You know what I mean? When I'm on 30s, I score 30. When them lights come on, I'm going to ball. Just come to the party. Mm-hmm. But my party would be Beanie Siegel on, riding around, doing what I do, and smoking weed and just chilling, you know what I mean? And then I would go to the real part. I was crazy.
Yeah, I remember looking at the first perk
I took,
and I said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. And I put it in and the second it kicked in, I was like, you can do this a couple times a week.
And you know how I started? So, because I hustled or whatever, I used to deal with a lot of people that I respected, and they had it under control.
Yep.
So I got a question. As recovered drug addicts, right? And I definitely, I think that this time I've made some severe changes, some serious changes in my life that I've never done before. Like I learned some stuff in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, you know what I mean? And I've put it into action in my life, and it's made some changes, and I've changed, right? What separates you, me, from the person, like my son? He came from a town, like I moved him out of Philly, moved to a town where I thought it would be better. The whole town, like he says, I know more people from that town that shoot drugs than I do from South Philly, right? So he took a half a Xanax in 9th grade and never did a drug again other than, he used to smoke weed or whatever. Barely drinks. He always would drink like, he would buy like a 6-pack and drink 1.5 beers out of it. I'd wake up in the morning and be like, oh my God, thank God he bought a 6-pack last night, because and I'd find 4 beers. Yeah. And I would drink them, of course. Mm-hmm. Right? But like, what separates us from someone with the ability to do that? I think that's something we should talk about real quick.
See, like my brothers don't do drugs.
Right.
I got 3 older brothers. They don't do drugs. Mm-hmm. They never did. They always would try to talk. They didn't know how to talk. I was just wild.
I've been in a few of them interventions.
Yeah, you've seen, you know what I mean? My brother Mark wants to hit me in the head with stuff because he's very respectful, normal guy. Yeah. Handles his business. Everybody knows him and likes him. And I was just the opposite. I mean, I'm respectful. I know how to act, but I was so crazy. I would do crazy shit.
What about you, Fred? I mean, like you went to college, like right? So, I mean, you went to college, but you didn't finish, right?
I didn't do anything in college but play basketball.
All right.
And I got 100 credits. I never wrote my name in college.
Right. You finished college.
Yeah.
You graduated college. You went to work. You worked in hospitals. You worked in operating rooms.
Did you?
Right? Hi. Yeah.
Look at this guy. With the shell necklace.
Yeah, with the shell necklace on.
40 bags in his pocket.
The surgeon definitely used to hit him up.
Yeah, but you got to remember, my career.
He was operating on me like this.
So for me, it was, I grew up. I was one of six, kind of, dysfunctional family, whatever. 3 of us are addicts, 3 of us aren't. So I think when you grow up in a chaotic situation, you're either going to go one way or another. And I tried my hardest not to do it. So you're either scared of it and you know what's going to happen to you, which I did, and I still ended up the way that I did because I found the drug that really gave me relief. So I knew that I didn't want to go there, even though I love my older sister and I love my mom. Whatever, take it with a grain of salt. But I do. She passed on information that was passed on to her. So I get it. She's a sick individual too. But I had the perfect blueprint of what not to do. And I did it. I went to college. I was involved in high school. I was an athlete. I was student council, fraternity president at college. Conquered corporate America. Was #1 rep at 3 Fortune 500 companies. And the more that I was successful, the more that pressure built that I didn't know how to cope with. The more, I just felt like I could never catch my breath. So I was always, the drinking got more intense. The coke was always there. And then the second I put the opiates in my body, that was my relief. That was something that finally calmed me the fuck down. But then you look at, and this is what I was talking about earlier, about, the functional addicts that are out there. My career also played into me being really sick. I was taking doctors to dinners and shit. I was getting scripts from them, It was like, oh, there's Freddie, always takes us to dinner. My shoulder hurts. He went 180 30s, no questions asked, no MRIs, anything. And then when the DEA cracked down on everything, it's like, dude, you're not even a patient of ours.
Which
not
I
even
knew patient then.
Yeah, you're not even. We can't do anything. So then it's like, now I got to get it on the street.
I get this fucking Freddie in the morning.
So
I can't get scripts, Freddie.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I end up with.
I woke up, my back hurts. Got 6,030.
Yeah, they literally do.
Because just for a disclaimer, we're kidding. But
FBI disclosure. Definitely
FBI
all
disclosure,
jokes.
we're
FBI
joking.
disclosure, all jokes. But a lot of that played into it, and I was traveling around the country, so I would go meet up with people in my company in Vegas, and the second I walk in the door, it's like parties here. But the problem is the people I'm partying with, they're partying hard like that 3-4 times a year.
Right.
I'm going every night.
Every day.
Whether it's going back to my neighborhood in the Northeast, party's going, and I just am not stopping. And for me, it just, it literally took me running into an 18-wheeler to wake the fuck up and realize. But I never, because I started at such a young age. I started really heavy drinking when I was 13, So I remember just being like, there's never going to be a time where I can't put a substance in my body. So now that I'm at the point where I'm free, because that's probably the thing that hurt me the most, was that something controlled me that I had no control over. And now that my mind's free, it's like I'll never go back.
And see what he said about being at the point? So my life, I think I got right this time because my life. Like, I'm not going to talk about it, but I lived a very crazy life. Like, I did a lot of things to the fullest. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything. Like, I know there's more to life. I've realized, what matters, helping people, love, family and stuff. But I did a lot of things that people think are cool or want to do to a very high extent. And yeah, I had fun, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't at peace. You know what I mean? I feel like I was ready. Like, my path, I had to go through all that. If you talk to a lot of young kids, they'll say, oh, I didn't get to do this or that. Like, I'm lucky because I got to do everything.
So what kind?
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Like, partying wise, going out, going to this place. I did everything with major people. You know what I mean?
So Freddie said, he said two things. One was relief.
Yeah.
He finally felt relief when he got high, right? And the second thing that I think is real important that he said is, like, it took him running into an 18-wheeler, the back of an 18-wheeler, and I seen the pictures. He ran into the back of an 18-wheeler.
I ran into an 18-wheeler, and it didn't work.
Listen.
I did that, the same thing, but I didn't.
He ran into the back of a parked 18-wheeler.
I ran into a moving 18-wheeler.
Right. Yeah, no, he had a park.
All I did was ruin Christmas one year.
Right, yeah.
Shouldn't have been there.
But
shouldn't have been there.
The 18-wheeler, there's no reason it should have been parked in the Lower Avenue. But, like, he couldn't see, like, the damage, right, that he was doing until it was like so bad, right? And he woke up, like for me, like I spent my entire life as a result of my addiction going in and out of institutions. I mean, I'm in my first rehab at 13. I'm a youth study center, you know. The list goes on and on and on and on, you know. And it took me to get to a place where I had lost everything. I'm sleeping in a park. My family doesn't want me in a house. You know what I mean? Like, and then I'm like, okay, I get taken to rehab. I get dropped off. I have nothing, and I'm like, fuck. Like, why should I get better? How am I going to overcome where I'm at? There's no shot.
Well, when you
right? Like I'm looking up the mountain, and it's like this.
You got to take it a little step at a time, like so little at a time,
right, so,
or you won't get through it.
So being in this field and seeing that constantly, I try to tell patients like that. The thing about it is, right? Like
it's like if you walk into a forest and you decide you want to leave the forest, you still got to walk out. So everybody does whatever, and they want to get clean, and they want everything back immediately.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Nah, I mean, it took a long time for me to restore my life.
You gotta walk out of the forest.
No doubt about that. But the thing that was harder than the amount of time that it took me to repair my life was just even believing that I could repair my life.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm in this place where, like, you know, I've got nothing, the world's against me, this is how I'm viewing it, you know what I mean? The mountain's this high, I'm never going to climb it, I'm never going to get out of it, I've destroyed everything. I see this all the time, I hear this all the time, and I try to say to folks when, you know, when they come into treatment, like, because I get to see guys, you know, we get to see guys and girls, like, at their absolute very worst. You know, walking in the door, they're shot out of a cannon, you know what I mean, they're in bad shape, and they're like, why am I doing, like, I don't know why I'm here, man. Like, I'm going to end up back in Kensington or on 7th Street. There's no sense in doing this.
Yeah.
And I guess that'll bring me to, like, that's something that, like, I think we should do the next podcast on, talk about, like, how do we get out of that place? Because I think that's big information. Listen, we all partied, we all had fun, we all didn't have fun, we all got locked up, we all didn't get locked up, we all, you know what I mean? That list goes on and on and on and on, right? But how do you get to a place where the destruction is so bad, you know you've destroyed everything, and you're going to start moving forward?
Right.
You know, like for me, like my family wasn't talking to me, my kids weren't talking to me.
Well, that's a big part of it. Like, I'm a hurricane. Everyone that comes in contact with me, I torture. I'm a torturer. And I don't like doing that. You know what I mean? Like, we're Italian family people. We don't like disappointing our family, right?
Right.
And I torture everyone that ever loved me, because a lot of people love me, and I used to torture them. And I'm telling you, you have to take it so, like, see, one day at a time. It works. All them cliches. I used to say, what are these jerk-off cliches? They work. And see the steps? You used to try to make me do the step. Like, if I didn't see someone who I know you were a maniac, I know how you lived, I know the things you did, and then I seen you change. And at first, of course, I'm like, oh, it's an act. But over time, I know it's not. I know how you live. I know you help people.
Right.
And that gives someone like me hope.
Right.
Because if you were like
that's what we do to each other.
If you were a businessman that drank too much, that ain't gonna help me. That was never me.
Right.
You were a thug that switched his life.
Yeah.
And that's what helped me.
Yeah. I think that's with all of us, you know. And Fred, you say it sometimes. You're like, when I first met you, I was like, oh, this guy can help me. Like, you talk about it.
Where you were saying about, you know, the disappointment, it was like I was saying earlier, like I did everything right. So, you know, I didn't live at home since, 17 years old. Once I left for college, I never went back. So everybody on paper is like, man, you know, his older sister was screwed up, his younger sister was screwed up, he has it. And I was a role model for everybody. So that held me back from, of course I had a problem. I wanted to tell, but, you know, the day that I had to go away, my dad's face, I mean, it just weighs on you, but those are the people you had to go to. And like you were saying, like the first time I met you, I was like, this is the guy I got to tell, you know, and it was like, all right, tell him tomorrow.
Right.
And then, you know, business started going. I'm like, oh, I'm going to disappoint him. I'm going to
Yeah.
disappoint. Realistically, it's like that's where he was putting my. I really believe that. You know,
Yeah. And each of us, like,
I had the opportunity
to
stop it before it blew up.
Right.
and I should have done it then, but you don't know. Your
God
mind's
puts
fine.
It takes what it takes,
puts
man.
people in
We
your
have
life
to
for a
live- we
reason.
have our path.
Did you ever seen a Bronx Tale when he says the saddest thing in life is wasted talent?
Yeah.
My dad said it to me my whole life.
Yeah.
And I turned into the saddest thing in life. So now I just want to help young kids or whoever not waste their life thinking things are cool that ain't. Like these rappers and these movies, they're not.
You ever
it
see
ain't
that
what you
meme?
think.
It says, before you judge that addict, think that could be the person who pulls your kid out of addiction or
Well,
something.
that, we all know that. You know, even
Yeah.
people that judge you when you get clean, like, oh, I can't believe he was doing that. How when their kids, something's wrong, guess who's getting a call? One of us in the room. You know, what am I going on with? You know, how can I help my kid? Just help me help my kid. So all those, the people that judge you the most are probably going to need your help. And
Well,
we
the
have
people
to
that
go
ask you to
help
do
them.
that know you're living a certain way now. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And that's it.
Yeah, I mean that's realistically, you know, what it comes down to. But it's tough, you know, it's tough to really get to that point, and but the freedom of you know, just not having something on your back, and like you said earlier, like I'm great. I don't regret what I did because I'm young enough where I have so much more life to enjoy without that shit, and I would have no one would have ever been able to talk me into rehab for drinking and coke.
No, I
Like,
wanna-
you're nuts. You know?
Yeah, like, you know, I wanna. We're probably coming close to the end, but I want to say, like, for people who are, like, I thought, you just said I'm young enough. I thought I'm way too old. This is the end. Why? What's left for me to do? I'm 45. When I got sober, I was 45. I just turned 50.
Look how much you did in the last 5 years.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So it's never too late for anybody. Like, you know what I mean?
You lived more in the past 5 years than some people do in lifetime.
For sure. For sure.
You have a great life, and it's
those are the
because
gifts
you
of
help
God, of
people.
recovery.
Gifts of recovery, and you help people.
Yeah.
That's your main thing.
And in a way, the way that we kind of burned the world down when we went down with it, like I feel like that was our prerequisite to help other people.
Yeah.
You know, like you had to burn it
I
down.
believe that. I believe God chose me from before I was born. He gave me a lot of gifts and talents that I used for the devil, and now He wants me to use for Him. I believe that.
It's pompous to say, right? It sounds pompous, right?
Yeah, but we're keeping it real.
I believe, if I'm keeping it real, I believe, and I say this often, and maybe it's just my way of getting over the guilt or shame of my past. I often say that, like, I had to take the path I took
To find
to have the ability to do the work that I'm doing.
exactly.
I would not have been as effective at what I do right now if I didn't have the experience I had.
Right.
Real quick.
No doubt.
I got sent the Teen Challenge. Quick story. I was supposed to go to North Philly. The water broke. My friend Vinny kept calling my father, send me the Teen Challenge. He said, what's it for? Gang members and drug addicts. He said, he's both. Send them. I go. You're not allowed to have anything but a Bible. Now, I go to the hardest one in North Carolina because the water's broke in North Philly. I'm detoxing. They put me in the choir. I got to do all this crazy shit.
You're in the choir?
Yeah, they're saying they'll pray for
You
me.
do a little something?
I'm going to pray for me. Give me a
do a little
fucking
something?
Suboxone.
Can you do a little something?
Yeah,
Give me a little something.
Well, can I finish the story?
Yeah. Like, you gotta hit me with something.
I'll hit you with something at the end.
Promise?
I got you.
Alright.
Maybe Sinatra.
Wrap it up with a happy day.
Alright, I'll wrap it up with a happy day. So anyway, I couldn't sleep for a week. You can't listen to music, there's no TVs, you can't smoke cigarettes. Eventually I opened this Bible. And that's what made me find. I wouldn't have found God at a rehab for me, where I eat ice cream and watch the movies. I had to go through this hard thing. And it was a hard place, it was the hardest one in the country.
Yeah.
But like
with
you were
that
saying,
being said-
I believe you 100% where you say, you know, God bless us with talents. Because me and you are very similar where people, you know, we walk in, people, they like us immediately. You know, we've always gotten along with people, but we gradually turn that into master manipulators.
Of course,
You know
all
what I mean?
of us.
And we
all of
manipulated
us.
the people that loved us the
And
most.
if I could add, you both got great hair too.
Phenomenal.
If I
hair.
can-
You got great hair.
When Jesus
Okay, well, listen, Chris, thank you for coming on, man. Even though
Cougine,
you were the
no
message for
problem.
the world. This is Conversations with Addicts, brought to you by Directions Treatment Center.
Episode 1.
Episode 1.
Andiamo.
And I hope it's I hope it's somewhat entertaining. We don't know who the next guest might be.
I got somebody on my sleeve.
You got someone up your sleeve?
Yeah, we'll announce it later.
We'll announce it later.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, you know, thank
Share
you
it,
for listening.
download, stream it.
Share it, download it, stream it,
Yep.
like it.
Yeah, we should be on YouTube channel, Spotify, and Apple when it's up and going.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Well, Freddie knows all that. I don't.
Mm.
I don't even know if this equipment's working.
Yeah. Hopefully it is. ''cause I think
Hopefully
it
all is working.
pretty well.
We just spent a lot of time. So
Exactly.
that. Thanks for listening.